a fire, you run the risk of being fined. While not every county is under a burn ban, some fire departments, like the one in Pinnacle, still ask that you avoid lighting outside fires.
Well, we talk about this rain and much needed rain for multiple reasons. A, we need it, but B, with all the wildfires, this could be much needed relief. Now, it may not be enough to extinguish everything, but it will be a help, right, to let the crews get a little bit of a break and slow it down a bit. Clouds will build tonight. We may see some showers late tonight, already seeing in the upper layers of the atmosphere a little bit of drizzle starting. 43 for the overnight low tonight, more mild than what we've been seeing, and we'll probably get that for the next 2 mornings, we think. Rain will be likely tomorrow, light in the morning, heavy in the afternoon and evening, especially at this time tomorrow. We'll see some heavier rains we haven't seen in weeks and weeks, and that'll keep that high temperature down to 59. You can see a little bit of a shower activity right in the heart of the triad, really, around Winston-Salem and Greensboro, but the majority of this is back to the west of us. Yeah, all of that will gradually get here tomorrow. Rainfall totals estimated between 1 inch to 1.5 inches, but isolated areas with maybe more. Keep your fingers crossed that some of us could see upwards of 2 inches of rain. So don't forget, you can keep track of the fires and the next chance of rain with our free app. It's right there at WFMY News 2. You can find the latest weather alerts, radar, and of course that 7-day forecast.
Law enforcement, friends, and family are mourning the sudden loss of a Greensboro police officer, C.G. Graham. Friends say the 34-year-old died in her sleep, and they heard the news Sunday morning. It's her tenacity to get the job done right and keep people smiling that friends and family remember her for.
Every day when she got ready to put that badge on and go out there and do what she did, she was proud.
From C.G. Graham's high school friends who went to prom together.
CG was always being silly. You never, she was always laughing. She kept everybody laughing in class.
To the ones who were there watching her successes as a mother and a leader.
She wasn't your average girly girl. Now, don't get it twisted. She would put on heels and she would, dress up and get cute, but she would also turn around and be like, yo, what's up, broski? If I would call her and say something crazy, she just, oh, wee, broski, oh man, wow. Just to know her was to love her, and this really sucks.
Many are remembering the personality Graham brought to every situation and also her legacy she made through the Greensboro Police Department.
We lost a real life hero. She was my hero, because I would tell everybody, I'm gonna tell my best friend on you, she's a cop. But she just wasn't a regular cop that just had a badge and just wanted to do her job. She wanted to do her job good.
Graham received the Greensboro Police Lawman of the Year in 2022. Not only was she a protector of the community, but her best friend, Karen Heggs, says Graham made it a point to ensure her family and her 2-year-old son were protected too. And while it's difficult to process the news right now, Heggs says she doesn't want anyone to forget Graham's purpose of bringing love and laughter to everyone she met.
She was everybody's friend. She was everybody's friend. She was CG. And I am going to miss her.
Now, the cause of death for Graham is unknown at this time as friends and family await the autopsy results.
The racing community is mourning the death of the North Wilkesboro Speedway caretaker. According to Save the Speedway, an organization founded to reopen North Wilkesboro Speedway, Paul Call has died. They say he took care of the Speedway for 60 years. Call began working for Enoch Staley when he was 16 years old. He continued working as the only employee at the track when it closed in 1996. He was able to see the Speedway be reborn at the 2023 All-Star Race last May.
An investigation is underway in Huntersville after a crash that injured a police officer. Officials say the officer was treated for minor injuries and that the officer was not responding to a call at the time of the wreck. A pickup truck was also involved in the crash, though its driver was not hurt. It's unclear what led up to the crash or if anyone will be cited.
Several Greensboro community members are speaking out against rezoning along Friendly Avenue. Tonight, some residents are planning to attend the city's zoning commission meeting downtown. Leaders are expected to vote on whether or not to approve a plan to build townhomes on Friendly Avenue. The meeting starts in about 90 minutes. We'll be sure to let you know what comes from it.
Panther fans, I think you're feeling this one. Yet another painful loss for Panthers fans. The team hosted the Dallas Cowboys at Bank of America Stadium down in Charlotte yesterday. In a game that was close to even for time of possession, the Panthers lost 33-10 and dropped to 1-9 on the season. Now, despite the Panthers allowing 311 yards on defense, the Panthers offense was only able to generate 187 total yards with just 10 points to show for it. It was a rough day for rookie quarterback Bryce Young, who threw for 123 yards, 1 touchdown, and his 8th interception of the season. Young talked about the loss after the game.
We want to execute at a high level, and again, that wasn't what happened today. Again, I take responsibility for that. That's on me first and foremost, and then we all look in the mirror. So ultimately, again, it's not one thing, it's not one reason. We just have to execute, and didn't do that well enough today. You have a game plan, you have stuff you can control the initial thoughts, but after that, I trust Coach Reich, trust his feel, and that's just how it's going to be moving forward.
Yesterday's game was the first game where head coach Frank Reich was in control of play calling after taking back the duties from offensive coordinator Thomas Brown. Joining us, Amanda Ferguson here. Okay, the big question right now is that, Brown was in charge of the play for a little bit and they won. Is that right?
One game, but then lost a bunch of others, but yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Okay, so this just shows me that the organization has no idea what they're doing right now. And so for Frank to take back the play calling, I think it shows that you don't have faith in the guy that you chose to call the plays.
Yeah.
So I think they're just a mess right now.
It is, and the reason I think that too is because it's so quick. They just give the offensive coordinator the reins, 2 games or 3, give it back to Frank. And it's almost like they're struggling to find an answer.
It wasn't working, and then with Frank Reich calling the plays, then you have Thomas Brown calling the plays. That wasn't working, so then you say, okay, let's go back to Frank Reich calling the plays. Like it's somehow going to be better.
And you were at last game, right?
Yeah.
How was the energy out there, just on the sidelines, the fans? I mean, what was it like out there?
You know what? It eerily reminded me of the 49ers game after Matt Rule got fired because it was all Dallas Cowboys fans. And to their credit, Dallas fans travel well.
Yeah,
it's America's team for a reason. So no matter where you go at stadium, it's going to be full of Dallas Cowboy fans. But it's sad to hear that Bryce Young gets sacked and then you hear a bunch of cheers inside of Bank of America Stadium.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
So,
Amanda, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, here's something that might cheer up some fans. Since we are the official home of the Carolina Panthers, we are giving away 2 tickets to a game next month, plus a swag pack of goodies. All you have to do is answer a couple of trivia questions on our website. You can enter as many times as you want, and you don't even need to be right. This is our last giveaway of the year. Trivia closes Friday at 3 p.m.
You know, it is the season of giving, and nobody does that better than Samaritan Ministries. They're based in Winston-Salem. It's time for their annual penny campaign for the holidays. This has been a tradition for decades and truly a way to show that the old phrase means something when you say every little bit helps.
Penny campaign started many years ago, I think 33 years ago, and it started as a way for the entire community to be able to help feed hungry people and shelter people who were homeless. Everyone can help out. People can collect change the old-fashioned way in a jar like this. Or people can go online to our website. They can give online, or they can set up a campaign to ask all their friends to support the penny campaign.
So this all goes toward the incredible work that Samaritan Ministries does all year to help those less fortunate.
Samaritan Ministries is about providing food, shelter, and hope through Christian love. We have three main programs. We have a community soup kitchen that provides over 100,000 meals every year. Our claim to fame with the soup kitchen is that we have served lunch every single day since we opened in 1981, over 15,000 days in a row. We also have a shelter for men experiencing homelessness, and then a recovery program for homeless men. Samaritan Ministries is about providing food, shelter, and hope through Christian love. We have three main programs. We have a community soup kitchen that provides over 100,000 meals every year. Our claim to fame with the soup kitchen is that we have served lunch every single day since we opened in 1981, over 50.
Well, next month, WFMY News 2 will be helping the Salvation Army with the return of Silver Bells. For the first time in 4 years, you can see WFMY News 2 anchor Chad Silver go from city to city to help raise money. He'll visit 8 cities over 5 days next month. Now, you can find info about Chad's stops and where to donate on our website, WFMYnews2.com. You won't want to miss it. We'll be back.
Have you ever heard the saying, summer bodies are made in the winter? Well, lawn care experts say now is the time to tend to your yards if you want them to be green in the spring and summer. Cold temperatures, fallen leaves, and the lack of maintenance can cost you hundreds of dollars to fix down the road. Skylar Henry picked up a few new tips in Virginia.
As front yards fade from green to brown this winter, lawn care experts in Virginia are working overtime, planting the seeds to make sure grass comes back lush next year.
That development period from early fall through the winter really sets up the entire lawn and landscape for success.
The crews at Virginia Green say basic maintenance over the cooler months can be vital for a healthy lawn. Wintry weather causes grass roots to freeze, creating a barrier that prevents the roots from absorbing more moisture. This is why experts recommend watering your lawn, if possible, well after Thanksgiving.
The number one thing that our customers need to be aware of is grass needs water. When we're establishing turf grass, daily watering is all but required in the absence of rain.
When the sprinklers aren't on, break out the rake or leaf blower. Research shows fallen leaves can damage grass by blocking out sunlight. Wet, soggy leaves can also smother and kill plants.
Is it a year commitment, 2, 5?
So it's a long-term commitment. The first year is when you're going to see your biggest change.
It's a slow process, but well worth the wait, these experts say. And if you don't have a lawn service, don't worry.
Watering and mowing, those two things are the backbone of having a great yard. Virginia Green can provide a great quality service, but proper watering and mowing techniques are absolutely crucial to maintaining that yard year-round.
Simple steps that can go a long way to keeping your lawns and wallets healthy.
And lawn care experts say as temperatures drop, remember to drain your sprinkler systems to avoid frozen and burst irrigation pipes, leading to costly repairs. They also recommend shutting down the water to the outside faucets to avoid other damage as well.
Well, we won't have to worry about that, at least in the short term, because our overnight lows will be fairly mild thanks to this cloud cover and rain that's kind of overspreading the area right now. Some of this will be precipitating in the upper layers of the atmosphere and not making it to the surface yet. We do expect that to change. And look for showers to develop, and sprinkles light could be for the first half of the day tomorrow. We could see a little bit overnight tonight as well, but the majority of that front really moves in tomorrow. And there's an isolated chance. I think it's more likely the farther south you go, but as that low moves across the state tomorrow with heavier rains in the afternoon and evening, especially down toward the Georgia area, we could see a thunderstorm, believe it or not. We'll watch for that here, but I think it's less likely, but there is that possibility. So the good rain, I mean, we need this, right? 1 inch to 1.5 inches, and maybe isolated areas with more tomorrow. We'll take it. That's a 90% chance of rain, a high of 59. We're in the upper 50s Wednesday, but clearing out just in time for Turkey Day. It'll be good. 57, clearing skies, and mainly dry on Friday with 54. Coolest air comes in, though, Friday and into the weekend as we're in the mid-50s. Saturday and Friday, a 20% chance of a shower, but all dry for Sunday and Monday, and lows in the upper 30s.
It's turkey time at the White House. President Biden carried out a White House tradition on his 81st birthday pardon. 2 turkeys ahead of Thanksgiving. The birds from Minnesota were named after the historic Liberty Bell in Philadelphia. And President Biden says they now have a new appreciation for the words, "Let freedom ring."
I hereby pardon Liberty and Bell. We can all give thanks to the gift that is our nation. And let's remember, we are the United States of America, and there is nothing, I mean this sincerely, nothing beyond our capacity when we work together.
Well, this was the 76th turkey pardoning at the White House. Liberty and Bell will live out the rest of their days at the University of Minnesota. Now, here's a history lesson. Presidents have spared turkeys off and on as far as the Lincoln era, but the first official pardon was granted by President George H.W. Bush in 1989. The event is usually an opportunity for the president to poke fun. For instance, when former President Donald Trump was in the White House, he made impeachment jokes while pardoning the holiday bird. Then in 2006, while pardoning 2 turkeys, former President George W. Bush made light of the situation the birds have found themselves in.
It's a fine looking bird, isn't it? Flyer is probably wondering where he's going to wind up tomorrow. He's probably thinking he's going to end up on somebody's table. Well, I'm happy to report that he and Fryer both have many tomorrows ahead of them.
That bird was not.
Just like, oh my God.
Get me out.
Get me out of here
Let me go.
immediately. Oh my gosh.
I just can't even. I want to know who's naming these turkeys.
I know.
Like who gets the
behind
override
that,
on
yeah.
that? You know?
Liberty and Bell.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, I'm so creative.
And they're so
funny.
big as well, too.
So that's what I'm thinking. Like, rarely will you ever see a turkey so beautiful as the ones they pardon. And you know they do that on purpose. They bring the best up there, but they're beautiful birds.
And it's just like a pure white as well, too. I mean, it's just so.
And they're so big, the ones that get pardoned. Well, that one, though, with President Bush was not happy.
It's like, get me out of here. You're like, no, you want to stay here. You want to.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, well, before we go to break, do not miss this. Speaking of turkeys, Lawndale Baptist Church is helping families put food on the table for Thanksgiving. The church is hosting its Feeding the 500 turkey giveaway, 5,000 turkey giveaway. They will be giving out turkeys and a $25 Food Lion gift card to the first 1,000 families. The giveaway starts tomorrow at 6:30, rain or shine. This year, the giveaway is drive-through only, and the church is asking that you do not arrive before 6 a.m.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. We begin with some somber news in this half hour.
That's right. Developing news out of Stokes County. The fire on Sauratown Mountain has grown to over 700 acres since this morning. The fire has doubled in size.
They say the main issue firefighters are dealing with is drought. We've talked about this. About 150 firefighters are fighting the fire, including Winston-Salem Fire Department. About 12 homes that are close to the fire line have been evacuated, along with a youth camp that had about 50 campers. Crews from Washington, Montana, Utah, and Oregon are also here to help the fight.
The North Carolina Forest Service says the Black Bear fire is now more than 1,700 acres, with none of it contained yet. Officials say nearly 200 people are working to stop the spread of that fire. The Forest Service says it started 2 days ago from a car crash that was on I-40. While interstates are still open, part of the Appalachian Trail is closed while fire crews work to contain that blaze.
Certainly devastating, and meanwhile, containment efforts continue for the Collette Ridge fire. It remains just over 5,500 acres in size, with now 82% of it contained. This fire has now been burning for 2 weeks. This is one of the 828 fires that has burned on state and private land since November 1st.
All right, with all that in mind, we need some rain, don't we? And we do see some relief. Most of this happening during the day and the evening tomorrow, possibly into Wednesday as well. But you look at that, that is a heck of a front that's heading in our direction. With the majority of the rain, now we could see a light shower or two here or there overnight tonight and tomorrow morning, but the majority of this arrives tomorrow afternoon. Let's go ahead and skip ahead to our future cast here. We'll take you as we head into the night tonight. You see the clouds starting to build in. Here's some showers. That's around 7 o'clock in the morning. It gets a little bit heavier as we go into the afternoon, and then really heavy into the evening hours. I mean, you look at that, that's at 9:30 p.m. and that's some pretty strong shower activity moving through the area. So as we look at the 7-day, what does that mean? It means a 90% chance of rain, maybe an inch and a half. That's good news for us. 59 will be your high tomorrow. 58 on Wednesday with maybe a leftover shower or two, but it'll be fairly light. Thanksgiving looks great. 57 cool and clearing. Friday 54, only a 20% chance of a shower, and we hold that into Saturday. This weekend, your highs in the mid-50s.
All of the wildfire smoke could impact air quality in North Carolina. While levels across the state are moderate to low right now, the Culp Weaving fire in Graham from last week did create some concerns. Here's how you can protect yourself from bad air quality.
The three primary messages are avoid exposure, time of exposure, and the intensity of physical activity you're doing are going to be the key factors in how at risk you are for side effects of wildfire smoke.
Experts say when AQI levels get in the unhealthy, very unhealthy, or hazardous range, you should consider wearing a high-quality face mask whenever you go outside.
The only masks that are going to offer protection from these particulates are real N95 respirators. The surgical masks and even the KN95 masks that we're all so familiar with from the pandemic are probably not offering enough protection.
And in your home, make sure your windows are shut, doors are properly sealed, and make use of any air filters.
The EPA recommends even using a box fan and just, taping a house filter to the back of the box fan, which can provide some improved clearance of those particulates so that there's less burden you're exposed to in the home.
If you start having a scratchy throat, irritated eyes, or a cough, Dr. Arthur says that you can turn to your local drugstore.
I think many of the over-the-counter allergy products are appropriate here. The people who are going to be at most risk of a serious complication are going to be elderly patients, very young patients, pregnant patients, and those who have chronic heart or lung conditions.
The White House says it believes a deal is closer than ever to free hostages that are being held by Hamas. This comes as the head of the World Health Organization said that 12 premature babies rescued from Gaza have now been flown to Cairo for specialized care. Naomi Ruckham has the latest.
At the conclusion of the annual turkey pardon event at the White House Monday, President Biden sounded hopeful that some of the hostages Hamas is holding may soon be released.
Mr. President, is a hostage deal near? I believe so, but I'm not prepared to talk to you. So? Yes.
Multiple sources told CBS News a deal would likely include the release of 50 hostages.
We're talking about kids and women and old people.
In exchange for Israel pausing the fighting and allowing more humanitarian aid into Gaza, including fuel. As nighttime fell Monday, Israel kept up airstrikes on what it says are Hamas targets in southern Gaza, while Israel's defense systems intercepted rockets over Tel Aviv. As the war rages on, dozens of the premature Palestinian babies who were evacuated from the besieged Al-Shifa hospital in Gaza are now receiving treatment in Egypt.
They are now receiving antibiotics. They are now receiving oxygen. They are now being rewarmed.
Health officials say it will take a long time for many of the infants to recover.
The Hamas-run government media office in Gaza says more than 13,000 Palestinians have been killed in the territory since October 7th. That's when Hamas launched its terror attacks on Israel, killing more than 1,200 people.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. Backlash is growing against X, the online platform formerly known as Twitter, and its billionaire owner Elon Musk after he endorsed an anti-Semitic post on the platform last week. Multiple companies have suspended advertisements on the social media platform, citing the rise in hate speech there, including IBM, Comcast, Disney, and Paramount Global, the parent company of CBS News.
In a show of support for Ukraine, U.S. Secretary of Defense made an unannounced visit to Kyiv and met with Ukrainian's president and promised that the United States and other allies will continue helping the country defend itself as the war with Russia drags on. The visit comes as the Biden administration's request for more U.S. military aid to Ukraine has stalled in Congress.
The busiest travel holiday of the year is only days away, and the officials at the Department of Transportation want Americans to know they are working on improvements. This morning, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg shared how they are looking to help passengers have a smoother ride in the air. He says his department is working with the National Weather Service and Federal Aviation Administration to find the best routes for pilots and preparations for bad weather.
This Thanksgiving week, many of us will travel by train, plane, or car to reach our holiday destinations. AAA estimates more than 55 million Americans will travel more than 50 miles. Now, a new rail line linking Miami to Orlando is giving Florida its first taste of potential for high-speed rail. Chris Van Cleve is riding the rails for us in Florida.
Thanksgiving week on Florida's Brightline means a milestone, carrying its 5 millionth rider since 2018. The trains that can hit a top speed of 125 miles an hour.
It actually feels like Europe.
Jack Fernandez takes it monthly between Palm Beach and Miami and says he'll never make that drive again.
You can get work done, you can make phone calls.
Brightline built its initial service between West Palm and Miami in about 4 years on an existing freight line. The company also has a near shovel-ready project running along Interstate 15 to link the Los Angeles area with Las Vegas. Brightline Chairman Wes Edens.
Is there a world where the U.S. gets true high-speed rail?
The world's going to get true high-speed rail with our Vegas project, 100%. There are many, many corridors in the United States that would fit this bill where you're going to save people a considerable amount of time.
Transit experts point to success in Europe and Asia as proof that high-speed rail can be successful, linking cities that are about 150 to 400 miles apart. But those projects will require significant public funding.
We will never see high-speed rail without substantial public investment to build it.
The bipartisan infrastructure bill set aside $66 billion for rail. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg tried Brightline last month.
We're putting our money where our mouth is.
While the nation's fastest trains lag behind those in Europe, Acela moves about 100,000 people daily between Washington, D.C., New York, and Boston. Amtrak's long-term plan, if fully funded, would look to add similar higher-speed corridors throughout the country by 2035.
It's not just about distance, it's really about congestion, because people don't want to be frustrated sitting in their car all day.
The ride to Orlando, about 3.5 hours. You're hard-pressed to do that behind the wheel on a good day. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Fort Lauderdale.
Now this comes as North Carolina just celebrated Amtrak surpassing Amtrak ridership milestones for its service. It's a big question. Do you think North Carolina needs one of these?
I mean, I think that for what they're talking about, which is all across the country, major cities, for North Carolina, we need an east-west, right? Like we need from Asheville to Wilmington. If I could go on a train from here to the beach, I would not drive. I take my family on that thing every time.
Yeah, a lot of few more developments that, you know, can happen as well too. But I know with what we have now and some of the trains, I know the ones going over to Charlotte, considering just the games and the atmosphere, Carolina Panthers, Hornets, whatever it takes, because it feels nice when you don't have to worry about driving somewhere and all you can do is just get off because you
just sit there
rode
and relax.
the train.
I've done 2-3 times with the train to a Panthers game. It's great.
It was nice, wasn't it?
Yes.
Because that parking can be.
Thank you.
You do not want a part of that.
Taking an Uber from the train station to the stadium is the greatest thing ever.
That's
All
right.
We're going to take a break. We'll be back.
As the holidays get closer, homes and businesses have started to decorate, but one Texas woman has taken her love for creating decor to the next level.
All right, Savannah Hale shows us how this woman turned a hobby into a festive business spanning the entire country.
Flip it over. You don't even have to do the pinch and turn. I'll show you that in a minute.
These are some tips from creative mastermind Leah Voigt. She's a Tyler native that picked up a new hobby a few years ago during a time we were all looking for something to do.
January 2020, and then in February is when COVID hit. So I was home a lot, and that's how I started making wreaths.
But it's more than just a hobby now. For 4 years, she's been growing her collection of ribbons, wreath bases, and what she calls pretties.
Put all the pretties on it.
And all that collecting really comes in handy for her busiest time of year.
This is the busiest time, and this is crunch time. This is fourth quarter. This is when you make your money for the year, so I'm busy making lots of wreaths.
But just because the holiday season is her busiest time doesn't mean that's the only time she works. In fact, Leah says that she works on her wreaths year-round. Over the past couple of months, she's already shipped her homemade wreaths to over 19 different states across the country.
Sometime in December is when I start making Valentine wreaths, and then you go right into Easter and spring and summer, and then May and June you start making Halloween and fall, and then July you start making Christmas, and then you go through the year and start all over again.
Looking back on some of her first wreaths, she says her craftsmanship has really grown. And despite the work all year, Leah says she loves being able to design and create.
There's nothing more satisfying to me than just being able to come in and take something simple like this and turn it into something big and beautiful and turn out with something that is something that I love.
Very cool.
amazing.
Well, we are standing next to a really big holiday decorating woman right here because you've already gotten your home
trees
together.
up.
Yeah, it looks great too.
Okay, here's my justification. So, you know, this is the week of Thanksgiving, so I feel like it's finally time.
Yep.
I'm going home to visit family, and so in that process, my mom makes me put up her Christmas decor. So I got mine done, so when I get back home, I just can breathe.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
your favorite thing
Perfect.
about decorating? What's your favorite thing?
I love how cozy and like,
Me too.
you know, it just gives me this feel. It really puts me in the mood for the spirit.
You
So
do such a good job.
our tree is right next to the fireplace, and I love
Yep.
that. Now, not so close. I don't want to hear the emails of you're going to start a fire.
Yeah.
It's a gas fireplace. It is a good distance, but I love to sit there and have the fire over here and the tree there. I
You're
just
like,
love
that
it.
was over here, yeah.
Yes, far enough.
I
apart.
haven't started just yet. I've only done one little thing, and that's a small mini Christmas tree
Not that
in
big.
my kitchen.
Little tiny.
But I will get there
That
sometime
works.
soon.
Look, you can get down really close to it like this and just.
Do like a you can
Every
show
time
us
I
a
wash
video.
my dishes, I'm like, I'm in the Christmas spirit, and then I leave my kitchen, and I'm like, where are we at again? What's happening?
What season is
What
it?
season is it?
All right, we'll take a break. We'll be right back. So over the weekend, former First Lady Rosalyn Carter passed away at the age of 96.
Carter changed the way Americans view First Ladies by taking an active role in policy during President Jimmy Carter's time in office.
Natalie Brand has more on the former First Lady's life in Washington and beyond.
Those signing a book of condolences at the White House Visitors Center remember former First Lady Rosalyn Carter as an icon, a humanitarian, and political partner to the 39th President, Jimmy Carter.
She was a formidable lady, well renowned for her opinions on, I suppose, equality.
Michael and Mary Kennedy from Ireland said her impact was felt beyond the United States.
Remember as a child watching her on TV, the President and Mrs. Carter. And I just have fond memories of that.
Evelyn Campbell and her daughter Amy from Ohio said the Carters' more than 77-year marriage inspired hope.
What do you remember most about former First Lady Carter?
She just seemed really genuine and down to earth and cared about people.
Rosalyn Carter is credited with transforming the role of First Lady. She advocated for issues including mental health and even sat in on cabinet meetings as well as major briefings.
My role was more one of a sounding board for Jimmy. He could explain the issues to me and in the process think them through.
After leaving the White House, the Carters continued their public service, building the Carter Center in Atlanta to promote peace and conflict resolution and partnering with Habitat for Humanity.
Yes, yesterday when we lost former First Lady Rosalyn Carter, who walked her own path, inspiring a nation and the world along the way.
Just last week, Rosalyn Carter entered hospice care with her husband, who called her an equal partner in everything he accomplished.
President Jimmy Carter has been in hospice since last February. Services for Rosalyn Carter begin next week in her hometown of Plains, Georgia. You can read more about the former First Lady's legacy on our website.
All right, we'll look at our 7-day forecast, and thankfully rain is on the way. We've been waiting for this, possibly an inch and a half, some isolated areas with more. This will be good for us. Tuesday is kind of a rainy day, especially the later in the day you go. So scattered showers to start the day, heavier rain by late afternoon, early evening. It's a 90% chance, a high of 59. Upper 50s for Wednesday, Thursday. Thanksgiving looks great. Gradual clearing in 57, and only a 20% chance of a shower for Friday and Saturday with highs in the mid 50s. Staying in the mid 50s for Sunday. Partly cloudy. Monday, mostly sunny and will warm just a smidge, closer to normal for this time of the year as we go up to 57.
Any pet owner will tell you it's a priceless experience with a hefty price tag. According to Market Watch, the average cost of having a cat or a dog is $1,270. And if your pet gets sick, that can skyrocket fast. The average dog cancer treatment is around $4,000. Pet insurance claims to help with the unexpected costs like these. But is it worth the money? Consumer Reports crunches the numbers to find out.
Consumer Reports evaluated 8 of the most popular pet insurance providers, looking at premiums, what's covered, the claims process, and whether people had a choice in which vets to see.
We found that most people just aren't that satisfied with their pet insurance.
6 of the insurance providers earned just a mid-range overall satisfaction score, and 2 bottomed out with unfavorable ratings. If you're considering pet insurance, there are some things you should know. Pre-existing conditions are typically not covered. There are usually annual caps. If you hit that limit, you'll have to pay out of pocket. And you may be responsible for paying the provider directly and then filing for reimbursement with the insurance company. So, is pet insurance worth it?
If you're looking for a return on investment, maybe not so much. But if you value peace of mind, pet insurance may be something that you want to pursue.
Consumer Reports also found the average pet insurance customer spent $564 a year on insurance premiums and got about $786 in coverage. Vets we talked with said you'd probably fare better putting the money you'd spend on premiums into a savings account in case you need it. But if it's hard to be that disciplined, pet insurance may be the way to go.
And speaking of pets, tomorrow is a great time to grow your family. We are taking the Good Morning Show out live to the Guilford County Animal Shelter to meet a lot of pets up for adoption and learn how you can help out tomorrow on the Good Morning Show.
When am I going to stop? When am I going to stop?
Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah. Hi, just got my stuff on here. Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York.
Hi there, more than 700 acres. Can you hear me? 1, 2, 3. Hello. Smoke continues to rise on Sauratown Mountain as this very active, quickly spreading fire continues to burn. Now, officials say they do have a better handle on the situation in regards to homes and buildings.
Mike check 1, 2. As the fire grows, more people are being asked to leave the area. That includes a nearby popular camp. And now firefighters are replacing campers.
You hear me? My word is protected. I'm moving on protected.
It's time for my 2 cents. Thanksgiving Day is a time many of us look forward to every year. Food and family are what the holiday is mostly about, but the two can sometimes bring friction. If you aren't mindful, certain topics can make conversation around the dinner table tense and uncomfortable. The Washington Post says there are 5 things you should avoid discussing at the table. Here are just a few. Don't comment on what others eat. One concern that sometimes goes overlooked during the holidays associated with big feasts is those struggling with an eating disorder. Health experts recommend those who struggle to come in with a plan and practice setting healthy boundaries with friends and family. Avoid asking people about having kids or getting married. Not everyone has a desire to raise a family, and for some who do, infertility and other health complications may prevent them from doing so. Just say no to politics. Some family members can be very passionate about their beliefs, and there is nothing anyone can say to make them think differently. Stating your stance can just lead to frustration and anger. Just don't do it. If you find yourself in the middle of a conversation you want no parts of, don't be afraid to change the subject or simply say, "I'd rather not discuss." That's my 2 cents. I'll see you on the Good Morning Show tomorrow. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
We begin with breaking news right now on WFMY News 2 at 5 o'clock. A massive wildfire in Stokes County nearly doubles in size today, and it's still not contained.
We have live